Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to BBC Top Gear Mag India. This is Anand Pandey. It's a new day, and we have yet another new Pulsar with us that we are going to be riding the whole day today. This right here is the Pulsar N160, which is based on the same platform as the Pulsar N250. And I'll be telling you that all the changes that it has received over the NS160 and all the changes it commands over the N250 as well. I cannot tell you right now that how this new engine feels, how the engine and the new underpinnings all come together to form a real world impression, but I can list you down all the changes. So the overall design language and all the bits that you see here, even the suspension department, be it the braking components, be it the swing arm, they have been all carried over from the N250. So starting from the front, we get a single LED projector headlamp flanked by these two DRLs, but when you turn the key fob on, the DRLs don't come on, unlike the N250. So there's that difference. And as we move towards the front end now, we get a 37 millimeters of telescopic fork up front, and if you get the single channel ABS variant, you will get a slimmer 31 millimeters telescopic fork. The front disc measures around 300 millimeters, so it is a big step up from the NS160 as well, because the NS160 had a 260 millimeters of disc brake up front. So, and if you get the single channel ABS variant of the N160, you will get 280 millimeters of front disc up front, and it gets chunkier tires as well, be it at the front or be it at the rear as compared to the NS160. Now the front tire measures 100 section and the rear tire is around 130 section, so that is another step up from the NS160. Now as we move towards the instrument cluster, it is the same unit as we have already seen in the N250, and Bajaj likes it to call an infinity display because it has no bezels whatsoever. It is just all information, and it is a semi-digital unit, so you still get an analog tachometer right here. Now there's one department where the NS160 lagged, and it was the features department where it really started to show its age. Now that has been changed with the N160 because it gets a semi-digital instrument cluster which shows a host of information. Now it might not come equipped with Bluetooth enabled connectivity, but you still get a distance to empty meter and a gear shift indicator which makes an appearance on the N160 finally. We didn't get on the NS160, and we still get this beefy looking 14 liters of fuel tank, which is another step up from the NS160 because it used to get 12 liters of fuel tank capacity. Now it looks very striking. I mean, I can tell you about how it looks, cannot really tell you how it performs, but this new color scheme is particularly reserved for the dual channel ABS version, so you get a nice mix of dark grey and black, and some sportiness infused by these red accents as well, which are splattered all across the bodywork. And as we move towards the engine part, now that is a major change over the NS160, and as well as the chassis as well, but we'll come to that later on. Now the NS160 used to get, it still gets a 4-valve head, so the N160 here that we see, it gets a 2-valve head, but the displacement is slightly larger as compared to the NS160. And the way they make their power is sort of different as well. Now the NS160 makes around 17.2 PS at around 9000 RPM and 14.6 Newton meters of torque. So when we compare the performance figures of the NS160 to the N160, they are sort of different because the N160 makes 1 PS less as it makes 16 PS, and the torque rating is almost same as the NS160. But here's where the difference lies. The N160 makes its peak power output figures a bit earlier in the rev range. So we can expect, I'm not telling you that how it rides, we can expect it to be a little more tractable as compared to the NS160, because for you to extract the most fun out of the NS160, you had to ring it to bring it. Now that shouldn't be the case with the N160, because during the briefing as well, the officials told us that this is a lot more tractable, a lot livelier as compared to the NS160, especially in the lower and the mid range. So that is about the engine department. They share, now there are some similarities as well as we compare it to the NS160. They are both based on the SOHC architecture, that is single overhead camshaft. And they, both the motorcycles get a 5-speed gearbox unit.
In the chassis department, the NS160 boasts of a perimeter frame which we usually see on performance-oriented bikes. The N160, as we have already mentioned earlier, is based on the similar platform as the N250 and is built around a simpler single down tube frame.
As you move on to the rear, it might remind you of all the Pulsars that we have seen over the past 2 decades, because these signature tail lamp units have been retained in the N160 as well, and the overall design philosophy is, like I've already mentioned, it is exactly as same as the N250. But as we compare it to the NS160, it gets a chunkier rear tire. So it is a 130 section unit, so it should perform better than NS160. So this is all, folks. These are all the changes that the N160 commands over the NS160. We'll be out riding the N160. It has been raining outside, but I'm pretty sure that this is going to perform, as Bajaj is pretty confident about it, that it is a better motorcycle as the NS160. And we are going to address that question as well, that why Bajaj is selling two 160cc motorcycles in the same market. So stay tuned for a detailed review that is set to drop on 17th July. So mark your dates. This is Anand Pandey signing off.